237 in their 50 overs, Andrew Symonds top scoring. But the Warriors are struggling in the run chase.
Queensland got away to a disastrous start. Just 4 overs in, a rash shot from Trevor Barsby saw the Bulls 1 for 11.
And they don't come any easier than that.
With a semi-finals berth up for grabs, the Warriors were on their toes. But with some support of the four-legged kind, Mott and Love attempted to mount a recovery.
That's a lovely shot.
It was short-lived, Moody making the vital breakthrough in the 13th.
A very ordinary shot there.
Mott on his way for 23. The Bulls in trouble at 3 for 64 when Prestwich fell to Julian.
Got him!
The run rate 4 and over at the halfway mark, but the wickets continued to tumble. Hogg breaking a 51-run fourth wicket stand.
Martin Love has missed a full toss from Bradley Hogg.
The loss of early wickets and the amazing decision to send Border in at number 9 put pressure on the remaining batsmen.
And he's out.
The only success, a top score to Symonds, 85 off 87 balls. The Bulls all out in the final over. Brendan Julian snaring 4 wickets, his best one-day return. Needing close on 5 and over, the Warriors got away to the start they didn't need. Second gamer Campbell holing out in the 5th over.
That's a very, very good catch.
Langer lasted just 5 balls before he too departed.
She's been given out.
Caught behind off Dale, WA slumped to 2 for 16 after 6. Lavender failed to stick around, WA in trouble with the captain and his deputy at the crease. But the Warriors' struggle continued. When Moody was trapped in front, victory looked unlikely. 4 down for 50 runs.
And a comfortable win against Victoria has moved South Australia into the semi-finals of the Cup. The Crow Eaters in form at the MCG. Victoria didn't complete its 50 overs, leaving South Australia with just 187 to win. They did it with 7 wickets to spare.
After being sent into bat, Victoria got off to a flying start against South Australia. Openers Matthew Elliott and Graham Vimpani added a quick 31-run partnership before Wilson made the breakthrough. Elliott continued with big hitting, but eventually failed to get it over the top. Warren Ayres then came to the crease but managed just 1. Skipper Dean Jones following shortly after, out on 24.
And the charge didn't come off.
The Bush Rangers in trouble, 4 for 68. Ian Harvey settled the home side, helping them pass 100, but he too fell victim to Scuderi. Brendan Rickey then went out in unusual fashion. The Crow Eaters were quick to wrap up the tale. Victoria all out in the 44th over for 186.
It's out, surely.
South Australia set about the chase in perfect fashion. Paul Nobes and Darren Lehman combining beautifully before Hewitt sent Lehman packing on 31.
And Hewitt has the last laugh.
But still well in command, the Crow Eaters continued to find the boundary. Greg Blewett joining in to see them bring up 100. Despite the loss of their captain, Jamie Siddons, South Australia had the match well and truly sewn up, cruising to victory, winning by 7 wickets.
Delhi Belly is keeping Shane Warne in his hotel room in Bombay, while paceman Craig McDermott is still battling a calf muscle injury. That's the bad news for the Aussie World Cup campaign. The good news, the rest of the squad managed to play their first practice match on the subcontinent today. For many of the Aussies, it was their first match in nearly 3 weeks. Ricky Ponting starred for Mark Taylor's 11 in a total of 247. Ian Healy's team, led by a rapid 96 not out from Shane Lee, cruised to victory. The side thankful for the match practice. India has won its first match of the Cricket World Cup, the host beating a surprisingly strong Kenyan lineup. The newcomers posted a respectable 199, but India's wonder bat Sachin Tendulkar led his side to a comfortable victory.
After a sluggish start to its first ever World Cup game, Kenya's Dipak Chittesama steered the newcomers into a good position, but his attempts to push along the scoring rate led to his downfall for 29.
And that's the end of a very, very enterprising start.
Fellow opener Kennedy Otieno played his part, but it was Stephen DeColo who had the visitors on target for a score of 220 plus, hammering 65 from 83 balls. But he was one of several to go in a middle-order collapse as Kenya lost 4 for 23, eventually finishing at 6 for 199. The Indians were aggressive from the outset, Sachin Tendulkar launching a scathing attack on the Kenyan bowling.
Beautiful.
Ajay Jadeja brought up his first World Cup 50, Tendulkar his first Cup century.
He's got that away, that's it.
The home side losing a couple of late wickets, but still cruising to victory by 7 wickets.
In the other match tonight, England thrashed the United Arab Emirates by 8 wickets. There's the score, 140-2, Thorpe 44 not out. Coming up, the Cats get some grand final satisfaction. We'll slip behind the wheel on and off the track, and we'll paddle out for the finals of the Billabong Pro. Welcome back. Melbourne forward David Schwartz's AFL career appears over. He faces his third knee reconstruction after an injury during last night's practice match win over Collingwood. And Geelong's Brad Scholl is on report for misconduct following today's grand final replay in Tasmania. Richmond thrashed Fitzroy in their pre-season match, while in Hobart the Cats exacted some revenge down in Carlton by 59 points.
Fans began flocking to league headquarters well before bounce down for the clash between the two best sides in the AFL. With crowd numbers swelling as the game drew closer, merchandising stalls around the ground were kept busy, fans keen to display their allegiances. Arriving at the ground, the players were mobbed by autograph hunters. Geelong ruckman John Barnes a popular target, the big cat more than happy to please the fans. The public turned out in force for the grand final rematch, 18,479 fans packing league headquarters. With the event seen as a chance for the state to show there is enough support for a local AFL team, organisers were delighted. The fixture almost guaranteed to return next year.
Oh, without doubt, both coaches are absolutely delighted with the condition of the crowd. The crowd's great atmosphere and obviously a pretty good game of football as well, but will stand both teams in great stead for the 1996 AFL season.
On the field, the game lived up to expectations, the first 3 goals coming from a fired-up Geelong, desperate to avenge their grand final loss. The Blues staged a comeback as quarter-time beckoned to trail by 3 points at the break. In the second term, the Cats pounced. 3 quick goals midway through the term, giving them a handy 31-point lead at half-time. Adapting to the tiny North Hobart Oval better than the Blues, Geelong restricted the reigning premiers to a solitary goal in the third, slamming 7 at the other end, Mansfield a key mover up front. Despite being outscored in the final quarter, the Cats run away with the game. The huge crowd enjoying seeing their heroes in the flesh, Geelong enjoying a 59-point win.
The Gold Coast Lynette McKenzie is hoping her win today in the women's Billabong Pro surfing event at Stradbroke Island will start a successful charge for the world title. Hawaiian surfer Kaipo Hakias took the men's crown and is also expecting a special year.
The search for good surf brought competitors to North Stradbroke Island off Brisbane today. Not the most accessible place in the world, but there was still plenty of interest from man and beast alike. The women's final was between world number 4 Gold Coast pro Lynette McKenzie and former world champ Pam Burridge. The testing 2-metre conditions bringing out the best in McKenzie, who dominated the 30-minute final with an impressive display of power surfing. Her win by just 2 points catapulted McKenzie to number 2 in world rankings and the possibility of a world championship.
Got that in the back of my mind, but I'm just going to take it contest by contest and see at the end of the year.
A change in tide saw the men's final shift to Main Beach, where a 1.5-metre swell produced some hollow waves and a close contest between Hawaii's Kaipo Hakias and California's Jeff Booth. Catching the right wave to earn maximum points was not that easy, and the lead changed continually, the Hawaiian finally winning by just 0.1 of a point. A fitting reward for a young man who tasted his first success in the Kira Classic after 6 years on the circuit, made even more memorable with news of a new baby on the way.
What a time, you know, I win a Kira contest and we're going to name our daughter, if I have a daughter, Kira.
Jim Richards took out 2 of the 3 heats to win the 4th round of the Australian NASCAR Championships at Melbourne's Calder Park. Richards betted former 500cc world bike champ Kevin Schwantz, who took second after John Faulkner was penalised for spinning Brad Jones in the second race. Jones says Faulkner's tactics were nothing new.
I think there's a big difference between a gentle tap and a turn you around on the last corner to win the race. I mean, I was just very disappointed the way John drove. I guess I should be a bit more used to it by now because I've raced against him for a long time in NASCAR.
The official launch of this year's New South Wales rally season took place in Sydney today. Involved were 30 of the state's top drivers, including New South Wales' fastest woman.
Jo Cadman, just one of a number of big names who turned out for today's special launch, staged both on dirt and tarmac. 1995 champion Paul Kennedy and Michael Guest also among those giving the wheels an official spin for the first time in 1996. Racing action of a different kind in Canberra last night with stadium off-road racing. It's been around in the States since the mid-80s. Now it seems it's Australia's turn. Mark Manns had to overcome starting from the back of the field to work his way toward the checkered flag. And if that hurdle wasn't big enough, he also had to negotiate his way through the field, who were making it far from easy for him. Somehow, though, he kept his Holden Rodeo in one piece, crossing in first place.
Now to racing of a different form. Even money favourite Our Maze K let the punters down in today's Group 1 Lightning Stakes at Flemington. The champion 3-year-old faded in the straight. Gold Ace, Sequalo and Strategic running the Kiwi down.
Sequalo has taken the lead. Our Maze K is struggling. I don't think it'll run a place, Our Maze K. Sequalo now tackled by Gold Ace, the outside. Gold Ace on the outside grabs the lead. Gold Ace wins it from Sequalo, and Strategic flew in a photo for second and third, followed by Broad.
We've only just heard the halftime whistle here on Sports Tonight. Still to come, NBA, your chance to win a trip to the States. A comeback the doctors said would never happen. And Bonnie Wee, Scotland, heading for a Grand Slam. Scotland will line up against arch-enemy England for the Five Nations Grand Slam at Murrayfield in a fortnight. The Scots snuck home against Wales today to retain their undefeated season.
Scottish hopes have withered all too often at the Welsh fortress, but this time their Grand Slam dream is proving no castle in the air. Michael Dodd's early penalty settled nerves, but more notable was the Scots' resilience in restraining just the continual thrusts of a Welsh team now finally endowed with self-belief, and to be fair, unlucky still to be all square at half-time. The second half, with both sides refreshingly committed to enterprising attack, followed a similarly engrossing pattern, and the surprise was that a try was so long in coming. Eventually it was the Scots, sustained by the prospect of a Grand Slam few thought would be within their reach, who cleverly fashioned the decisive score as Townsend plunged over for a converted try. But Wales weren't finished, their rediscovered sense of adventure conjuring a magnificent response, the game's most fluent move ending in a try for Proctor that brought them back to within 2 points. Young Arwell Thomas needed the conversion for a draw, but faded agonisingly wide.
We consider this probably the hardest game of the championship, and so it's proved so far. But you go on to the next game, and England's now our next challenge, and we're very lucky to still be on course for a Grand Slam. And you know, it's a one-off game. We'll see how we do.
So it's to be the old enemy at Murrayfield for the Grand Slam. The Scots will relish nothing more.
From new cap Olivier Campbell, tears of pride. But moments later, it was Irish eyes which felt like cracking. A split-second change of mind by Thierry Lacroix was cradled in the arms of his captain for the first of many. The pace of Emile Ntamak set up the third, carried over by the debutant Richard Castel. David Humphreys, Ireland's 8th standoff in 4 seasons, did manage to get his first international points, but he had little chance to make an impression. The French simply exploited space at will, and Emile Ntamak had both the legs and time to add 2 more tries to his tally. Their 7th came from the tearful Olivier Campbell to bring up their highest ever score against the Irish. The green shirts did cross the line in the last minutes, but Niall Hogan's reach couldn't prevent the French victory by 45 points to 10. France are back on song, and in the second half of the Five Nations, the extra points could be crucial.
Now to basketball, and Magic Johnson's return is bringing show business back to LA and the Lakers. Nick Van Exel, nothing up his sleeve, and the buzzer also posing no obstacle. Even the Mavericks got in on the act, Popeye Jones creating the impossible. 2 points, but Magic and Cedric Ceballos to end this show. Now it's time to check other results from today's NBA. Cleveland and Detroit untroubled in their wins. Orlando in a tight 2-pointer over the Heat. New Jersey beat New York, and the Clippers downed Portland. Well, it's that time of the night when we get to give you more than just a good sports show. Grab a pen, get your phone handy, and take a look at this great competition.
Get set to burst out of the blocks and win a sporting trip of a lifetime during the Optus Grand Prix Series. Gatorade and Athletics Australia gives you the chance to fly to Atlanta in June for the final rounds of the Track and Field Championships, which doubles as the US Olympic team trial. All you have to do is call 0055 60623. That's 0055 60623 and quote the barcode number from your bottle of Gatorade. Prizes include airfares, accommodation and tickets. Plus, there are 3 runners-up prizes of a year's supply of Gatorade. So get in the running. Thanks to Gatorade, Athletics Australia and Sports Tonight.
Stick around. Next on Sports Tonight, the pole sitter doctors said would never drive again. But first, some scores on a roll. Welcome back. In a few hours, NASCAR's biggest race, the Daytona 500, roars to life. This year's race marks an incredible comeback. Ernie Irvine was near death 18 months ago, and now he's joined pole sitter, ready to show his peers he's back to his best.
Ernie Irvine's comeback story just keeps getting better. He won his qualifying race Thursday, and he's on the outside pole for Sunday's Daytona 500. It's a testament to Irvine's will to win on the track, but more importantly, in life.
Everybody said, oh, no, I mean, he'll never race again, or, oh, he'll never do it. And then plus we had the obstacles of the left eye that wasn't working very good. I love competition. And, you know, it was a challenge for me to be able to come back racing.
A year ago, many wondered if Ernie Irvine would ever drive again. At last year's Daytona 500, he was Dale Jarrett's consultant, and it had to be hard to watch his teammate take over the car he rode to glory. Ernie Irvine was in the background, wrestling with his emotions.
I had tears coming out of my eyes just because of, you know, it was such a blessing that we were able to sit there together. I guess my left eye was tearing because I was really upset that I wasn't being able to race, and my right eye was tearing just because I was just so happy that I was able to sit there.
Ernie Irvine is back at Daytona, and his name is back in its rightful place on his car number 28. Now, his teammate Dale Jarrett has another ride with Yates Racing, so everyone is happy and everyone is inspired by a story that goes far beyond racing.
We were just so happy to have him back with us, as hanging out with us, and being able to, you know, get that far, you know, recovered. But real bonus to see him back doing what he loves to do. I try not to think too hard about it. It brings tears to my eyes.
There's things that sink in every once in a while that tells you that this is bigger than just Winston Cup racing. I think that probably why it's grown so big as far as my comeback is because it's life. And everybody has something to compare to.
When you see a guy hurt, you know that there you are, except by the grace of God. You know what I mean? That it could be you. And that when he comes back, then it gives you hope and faith that you can come back too if anything ever happened to you.
Some say Irvine's comeback story is complete, but the author insists it's still being written.
I think my comeback is complete in a lot of ways because, you know, I think I'm capable of running for the championship, but until I get to where I was at, it's not going to be complete.
Irvine's tragic to magic story is the stuff of sports legend, and a fairy tale ending could be written on Sunday.
And now on Sports Tonight, our Play of the Day. And this one is for all those who believe that good things come to those who wait. Jeff Wagner is a fine example. Putter in hand, Jeff took a stand. A gold jacket he wanted to sample. But then the ball stopped. Jeff waited, berated, and then the ball dropped. What happened, you ask? Was it luck? Was it world class? Really, we can't say. We're not sure of the delay, except, of course, that it is worth the Play of the Day. And that is Sports Tonight for Sunday, February 18. We'll leave you with the Paz, Craig, Popeye, Parry out of Muscatine, Huntingdale, and a top field for Masters title number 3. I'm Matthew White. Enjoy this. See you later.
I'm Popeye the Sailor Man, Popeye the Sailor Man. I'm strong to the finish, 'cause I eat me spinach. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man.
Makes no mistake, and it looks as though he's got his 3rd gold jacket. Well, the way he's held